Hello my beautiful makeup lovers, thank you so much for tuning in with me today and a very warm welcome to my channel. Today I want to speak about a couple of Natasha Denona palettes that I have since some time now. We're going to speak first about the gold palette, which I have about 2 months now. Then we're going to speak about the Lila palette, which I have for about 4 months now. And then we're also going to speak about the mini star palette, which looks like this. And this I have since I have the gold palette as well, so also since 2 months. And I'm going to go through each of them individually, going to share my thoughts on them. I'm also going to share you some looks that I did with those, like in pictures or in close-ups. And in the end, I'm going to wrap up also a little bit on how I feel and all over about Natasha Denona palettes. And I'm also going to leave timestamps down below, so in case one palette interests you the most, then you can jump right ahead to it. So I would say, with all this being said, let's just do that. Okay, so the first palette we're going to speak about is the gold palette, which I'm going to open now because then it's not going to be that reflective. It's one of the 15 pan palettes from Natasha Denona and retails for $129 US. So it is also available in a few Sephoras in Europe where you can purchase it for around 112 euros. So if you're from Europe, you can get a hold of it pretty easy within Europe. This is the palette. So this palette got a lot of good reviews. I watched a lot of those reviews and I think I haven't seen any negative review about this palette in general. So for me, to be entirely honest, I think it depends where you're coming from with this palette. So if we just view this palette on its own, like just looking at this palette without any regard what else you have in your collection, then this is a very well composed palette, I believe. So you have really like your nice golds, like your standard golds, like a very yellow one, a more cool toned one, a very, let's say, like basic one, and one that goes more into the bronze direction. You have your mattes, you know, you can do really like the gold looks with it. I mean, it's called the gold palette. And then you have this nice corner over here which has like kind of twists, let's say, like this matte blue, this matte shimmer, etc. The topper shades, the green duochrome, and this is more gold topper, gold green topper shade, while this one is like a white silver. This one is just like a bronzy one. So like if I would just get this palette like this without regard what else I have in my collection, I would say, first of all, I have to say the Natasha Denona matte formula is stunning. I love the Natasha Denona matte formula. The matte formula of Natasha Denona was worth it for me just to buy this palette, honestly. Even though these are not just, you know, like not the most exciting mattes maybe, but I'm not the most excited about brown mattes, and I still reach for those because I find them so easy to work with. It's like they blend themselves, you know, you just put them there and blend it, you know, just one wash with a brush and there you go. And of course you still need a bit to know where to place it and stuff, but it's so easy with those, and it's just a very, very nice formula. I think the hype around the Natasha Denona matte formula is definitely real in my opinion, let's say. The shimmers here, like the more basic shimmers, let's say, like those here, these two and these two, which are the more basic ones, they are super foiled, super nice, so rich. I really, really like them. I'm also a big fan of this matte blue here. The green duochrome is beautiful, as well as the blue shimmer, and this like green gold topper shade is very stunning. But I don't like these two. Like this one and this one is something between like a pressed glitter and like a more finely milled topper shade. It's something in between, I'd say, and I don't like those. I really don't like those. I don't think they really, especially this one, serve a real purpose in this palette, to be entirely honest. So this one is like, this one especially, like what is this? And this one is okay, but I don't think, like, these two quality wise can really not, you know, like compete with the other shades in the palette. And I have to say, like, I thought they're going to be similar to the texture of this one, but this one is just a bit more creamy, wet, let's say, so it's easier to apply, it sticks easier to your lid, and it also makes more sense, let's say, conceptual in the palette to me. So without these two shades, I think this is a brilliant palette, good quality, amazing. But if I have to take in regard what I already own in my collection, so if you have a somewhat larger makeup collection, especially eyeshadow collection like I do, you really, if you spend $129, you want something special, something you never had before. Let me grab quickly something. Okay, so here we are again. Why I went off camera for a moment is to show you that when I bought this palette, I was very aware that those shades are not gonna be colors that I don't have in my collection. Even though I have to say, I knew that the mattes are gonna be stunning in my collection because I already had the Lila palette before, and spoiler, I already really loved the mattes in there, so I knew that the mattes are gonna be great, and I knew that those ones here, they're not gonna give me anything crazy, but I was really hoping for this twist to bring something entirely new. Not maybe entirely new, but just like a little twist, like this notch more that you want when you buy a palette for $129 US. So, and I had to see that this one here, the color, how's it called? Chrome Lime or Lime Chrome. This one here, let me swatch it quickly. I already owe 3 times. And I get that when you have like a not that large makeup collection, then you might not own it, but I just want to tell it to the people who might are like me and are going a bit too crazy with their eyeshadow palette collections, so you can make like a more informed purchase. Anyway, it also is the same color, like the color Ethereal in the Enchanted Secrets palette from Linda Hallberg. Is exactly the same shade, honestly. The one from Linda Hallberg maybe is a little less foiled, but it's the same shade in the end. If you put it on your eyes, it's not gonna be super different. It's also the same shade as the color Electric, this one here in the Subculture palette, which was really like, okay, even Subculture already did that, okay. And Subculture, you also have this kind of foiledness that you have in the Natasha Denona one. It's the same shade, it's the same shade. And also, you do also have this one in the Pat McGrath Bronze Seduction palette. It's getting really unhandy here. This one here, which is the color VR Fire Opal. Yeah, VR Fire Opal. And this one is also the same concept. This one is a bit different, I have to say. Like, I don't know if the camera is gonna pick it up, but the color VR Fire Opal from Pat McGrath is just a little bit more, it has more sparkle. It also has like a pink shift to it, which all the other 3 don't have. So the one from Pat McGrath is actually truly special. That's what I was hoping for this one from the gold palette, that it has just a shift that the others would not have, you know, like the color VR Fire Opal that has also like a pink shift to it and has this like also a bit of silver glitter in it. But yeah, so in the end I already own this, and even a little bit better. So this shade was already like, okay, it's only that. All right, and then also let me quickly clean myself. Back to the gold palette, because that's what we are here for. And then also this color here, which I was also really hoping for. And I mean, this one, just to make clear, it's a beautiful one. It's really nice, really foiled, brings a really nice touch. I have it in my inner corners today. Well, later on you're gonna see a close-up of this look, so I really like it, but I already own it a lot of times. So, and then also this color here, this one is really beautiful. It's really beautiful. It's like a blue, like dark base blue with blue glitter in it, and it's beautiful. But in the Enchanted Secrets palette from Linda Hallberg, you have the color, how's it called, Orphic, which is also almost the same. They are not dead on dupes for each other, I have to say, but they are pretty similar. On the lids, I cannot tell if I wear this one or this one. And also this blue matte, I mean, the blue matte is really nice conceptual wise in the palette, but it's not an extraordinary shade or anything, even though it's very, very well performing. It's the one that's needed to incorporate these ones a bit better in this palette, but I don't think it's like an outstanding shade. And on the other hand, I have been also quite let down by these 2 like more special ones. Like, let me swatch to you. It's just not really, like, they are not really impactful. They don't have any shift to them. I don't find them particularly exciting or anything. They don't give me a twist. I'm like, ooh. So yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of those, as I already said. And the only shade that I find truly special in here is this shade here, which is the shade Brass. Okay, which is a really nice, it's like, you see, it's just really beautiful, honestly. It is like a green, I don't know if this green shift picks up, but this one, you can apply it really opaque on its own, and then but you can also use it more as a topper shade of any of the other colors, and that's so cool. Like this one is truly one where I say like, okay, this one I don't have yet in my collection. It's a very versatile shade in my opinion, also in its texture. So all over, if you have a somewhat larger makeup collection, and especially those palettes that I already mentioned, you might have one or two of those, then maybe you're not gonna be that blown away by the twist that you get by the palette. But I just wanted to let you know that in case you're like me, and when you know, you already have a big collection, and when you spend a bit more money, you want like, oh, I hope I really get this 1 or 2 shades, or let's face it, maybe 2 or 3, 4 shades that you really did not have before. And with this palette, it doesn't really happen to me. That was a bit like, but on its own, it's a really great palette, I believe. Like the mattes are absolutely great. All the shimmers in here, like the truly metallic formulas, absolutely beautiful. The duochromes, stunning. And with the exception of these 2 shades, this is a really good quality palette. But it didn't bring me the you know, this extra notch, this extra twist that I was hoping for. So maybe that's why I would recommend you to first see what do you want from this palette. Do you want just a very high quality palette that allows you to do gold looks with a twist? Then I say go for it. But if you really looking for getting like this extra notch of shades that you might not have yet, I would say might check your collection first, compare some swatches, and see if these special shades that are in here are not that new to the market. So I just wanted to mention that. So these were my thoughts on the gold palette. I did this look with the palette. I'm going to show you now 2 close-ups of looks that I did with this palette. Well, the first one is actually this one, you're going to see that, and the second one is where I mainly used the blues actually. And yeah, I just thought it's gonna be nice to give you an impression of what you can do with this palette, and I hope you enjoy them. And after that, we see each other again for my thoughts on the Lila palette. So let's speak about the Lila palette now. The Lila palette looks from the outside like this, much more camera friendly. And then we have here the inside, which looks like this. This was my first Natasha Denona palette. This was the first palette I ever picked up from her 4 months ago. And I had to say, immediately I fell in love with this one, with the mattes in this one. Like these 2 here, this one and this one, I used them like the first time. I was like, okay, let's start the crease, and I was like, what's this magic, you know? It's just they really work so easily. They have so much pigment, are so easy to blend. It's like they are very densely packed in there, but still kind of like smooth, you know? And I don't know how they do that, but it really works for me, you know? I was really like, oh yeah. And also you can make this one here and this one, you can also make work as mattes, because in the beginning I was missing a little bit like a darker matte to darken out, you know, the outer V. But you can use this one as a matte, absolutely, no problem. And also this one, no problems. And I have to say, like, I was like a bit like, let's see with this palette. But I have to say, like, this one I love much more than the gold palette. I have to be honest on this. Like, this one is just, it has more special shades in them, and at least in my collection I don't have them, like, not that close to them. Like, the only shade that I would say that I probably already owned was maybe you know, the more basic shades, like, you know, a blue metallic, purple metallic. Of course I already own it, but it's just a very, very good formula as well, and all of those have really good quality. Like, there's no shade in here where I would say this is not a good shade, like I don't know how to use it, I don't think this fits in a palette, blah blah blah. Like I had with a gold palette, it was 2 of these topper shades. I don't have this issue here, and I think that what makes this palette to me like the one that I like just more. I'm a big fan of each shade in here. They have all really, really good quality, and even the shades which are more standard, you know, like the metallic pink and the metallic purple, I just really, really like them, and they have just such foilness to them. Let's swatch those two, which might be like the more standard ones, you know. So you see, absolutely beautiful. Like, they are super foiled, super nice. I have to say that if you use them dry, they have quite some fallout, so I got a little bit of fallout with the purple, as you could see. And honestly, that is, I don't mind at all. Like, those are super pretty. I don't care if I have to use them a bit dampened to avoid fallout. I really don't care. And to me, this palette is just more special. Like, I feel so much more inspired by this one, to be entirely honest, than with the gold palette. And I don't know, like, I think since I have this one first, I was expecting to fall also so much in love like I did with this one, but I didn't. So maybe that's also a disadvantage for the gold palette, being like the second one to the bunch, but that's just how I felt about it. In general, I created beautiful looks with this one. I really like it. Also, you have like all you need to, you can do like purple looks, but you can also do like almost red looks, you can do very pink looks, and you can also do really tuned down looks with this one. So if you are in the market for like lila, pink, red shifting palette, I think you can do a really good stand with this one. Like, it's really great. I don't know what would be missing otherwise. If you're looking for these colors, you have all you need in this one, but of course you have to be, you know, aware it's $129 US, so it's not cheap, for sure not, and it's also not even like high-end. It's like very up there, so you really have to ask yourself. It's, I mean, like, one of you actually told me once in the comments, and I think that makes a pretty good comparison. It was actually Isabel, I believe is your name, in real life, and you said that with makeup that is this expensive, it's a little bit like a good wine, you know. If you buy a bottle for like €6 in the supermarket, you can get something pretty good, something really decent. But you can also go ahead and buy this bottle for €40, and it's not going to be like, you know, 8 times better than the one you bought in the supermarket, but it just has this little notch extra. It's just like, is all round, it's all, there's nothing in there that borders you, you know. And I find that is very applicable to makeup. Like, there's no shade in here that bothers me at all. I don't have to make any shade work for me. And I feel like this is a very well comparison. It's not gonna give you like, you know, 5 times or 6 times more quality than a palette for like €20. But it just gives you this little notch extra that I think is really nice and really beautiful. And I really love that palette. So before I'm gonna ramble on about this, I'm going to share the look that I did with this palette. With this one, I did only one. Actually, I plan to do with every palette only one, but then for the gold palette, I only did this blue look. And then I realized it's not really gold at all. And I wanted to also do something with the gold, so I did 2 looks. And with this one, I did only one actually. For this video, I did more looks, of course, for myself, but for this video, I only filmed one with a close-up, and you're gonna see this now. And after this, I'm gonna jump into my thoughts about this little guy here, which is the Mini Star palette. let's talk about quickly the mini star palette. I don't know if this is really available anymore. I actually just bought this because it was either paying shipping. I was buying it when I bought the gold palette and was either paying shipping on top of the gold palette, or buy this one and then hit the mark where I did not have to pay shipping, which was more or less the same price. So I just bought this, you know. And I have to say why I want to mention it actually in this video. I find here, like, because I hear a lot of people saying when it comes to the mini palettes or the smaller palettes, that people say like they're not really the same quality as the 15 pan palettes I just showed you. They say more of the time, like, they are just not the same. I find these shades actually pretty representative for the quality of Natasha Denona. The mattes are, I think it's the exact same good formula. The shimmers, this one maybe not that much, but these two definitely I find pretty, like, I find them representative. So if you can get a hold of this still, I don't know actually if this was limited edition or something, but if you can get a hold of this one and you want to try Natasha Denona and you're not sure if the formula is really worth it to you, I think this could be a good way to find out without spending that much money. If you are into this kind of thing, it's important to you, important for, like, if it's good for traveling. I do personally travel a lot, and I actually did grab this one on my last trip, so I pretty much like it, and it's so compact, so cute, you know. I mean, like you can see, it's not even as big as my hand, it's really small, but I think it's very nicely representative of the Natasha Denona quality. So maybe this one, if you can get a hold of it, try out this first if the Natasha Denona formula is something for you before you maybe make the big jumps to the bigger palettes. So that's all I wanted to say actually about all the three palettes that we discussed. Those are all the only things that I have from Natasha Denona, which is not true. I also have one foundation from her. I have this matte foundation from her, but I wanted to make a video about her eyeshadow palettes because eyeshadows are the things that I love the most. So here we are. And in general, I think Natasha Denona offers really nice, really good quality in like 90% of the times, at least in the palettes that I showed to you. So the Lila palette, gold palette, and the mini star palette, I was pleased with the quality in all of those. In 90%, there were a couple of shades in the gold palette I'm like, but all over I'm pretty happy with those palettes. I really like them, and I do reach for them actually quite a bit, so that means something if you have a bigger collection. In general, I think those, you really get what says on the front, you know. If it says gold palette, you're gonna get a palette where you can make gold looks till you die, you know. Like it's really, that's what you get, and you get the little twist with the blues in there. But I think, like, if you don't like to do gold looks, this is not your palette, obviously. And if you don't like to do lila, purple, you know, pinky looks, this is not your palette. But if you're really into one of those, you know, and you're really looking for a good quality palette that offers you to do looks with these kind of vibes in a very easy way with a little bit of a twist, I think it's maybe worth checking it out. Excuse me. Maybe go to store, just touch them, you know, see if the formula is really yours. But the mattes in all of them is really amazing. I really like the mattes. I go only for the mattes in those palettes, even though the mattes are not even that exciting in the color. I like the color itself. I'm really into those. So for me personally, it was worth it. But I think if I would have to make a decision and, you know, I would lose all of those, maybe I would probably just repurchase the Lila palette if I have the money in this moment. Because the gold palette is really beautiful on its own, really nice, but just didn't give me this extra twist that I was hoping for. And the mini star palette was just, anyway, a little bit of a, you know, free item almost, so I just have it. And yeah, so these were my thoughts on the Natasha Denona palettes that I have. Also, please give this video a thumbs up if you like this kind of videos. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, so I can see you here in my next video. Bye bye!